Hey everybody, here to bring you a full game playthrough of Roll or Die. This is a print and play roll and write coming out from Fundamental Games, and it'll be on Kickstarter on Wednesday. I believe that is the 20th, 21st, whatever day Wednesday is, Wednesday morning. So here we go, Roll or Die. First thing you do in Roll or Die is you would print out a player sheet or a score sheet like this. If you chose to, you could laminate it or put it in a plastic envelope pouch thing and use a dry erase marker. I'm going to use a pencil today. Second thing you would do is choose a creature to battle against. Now, there are 9 that are going to come in the Kickstarter. I just have 3 that I printed for playtesting purposes. And today I'm going to battle the Die Rake. So I'm going to set the other ones aside. And the Die Rake has a special ability that's really easy to remember. Basically, it says, if I can get this to zoom, each time you roll a 1 on the d20, re-roll all other dice, and you don't get back used actions. It also has 750 health. You'll see on the bottom right, there's a number 1. That's the difficulty rating, which is subject to change before final production, but that's what we're going to be battling against now. So I'll just set this guy up here so we remember who we're fighting against, but really won't be referenced a whole lot during the game since its ability is pretty easy to remember. If I roll a 1 on a d20, I must re-roll all my other dice. All right, the next thing that you would need is a set of polyhedral dice. You would need a d4, a d6, a d8, a d10, a d12, and a d20. Now, if you don't have a d4, you could just use tokens or something to represent your actions because you're never going to actually roll the d4. But the rest of the dice will be rolled regularly. At the beginning of each turn, you're going to be setting your d4 to a 1. And that 1 represents taking the action to roll all your dice. So this is my very first turn against the Die Rake. I'm going to roll all my dice. And what I will do is then decide what to do with my next 3 actions, because each action I take, I'm going to rotate this d4 up until I've used all 4 actions, the first action being the first roll of the dice. So I would take a look at my dice and decide what do I want to do with these. And on my player sheet, I've got many different things I can do. I can use hero pairs, and that will be 2 sets of dice, different kinds, d6, d8, d8, d10, d8, d12, d10, d12. So those combinations of 2 dice would be added up and placed into those boxes. Or I could get a combined attack just using all 4 of my regular polyhedral dice, a sequential attack, so my 4 numbers in sequence, a defend, all my numbers being less than 20, an overwhelm, all my numbers being a total of greater than 27, a perfect strike having 4 matching numbers, and that actually allows me to use the d20, the other ones don't, so that's why there's a d20 there. A mass crit, meaning a maximum roll of 6, 8, 10, and 12, and the d20 could replace one of those dice. And then a taunt, meaning I ignore all my other dice and I just get the result of the d20 on my special d20 chart. So those are all the scoring options. And so this was a 2 when I rolled it. I have to decide, do I want to either A, with each of my actions I could rotate any die except the d20 up or down by 1 by using one of my actions. Or B, my second option on each action is to re-roll any number of dice, whether I've previously locked them or not, doesn't matter. So right now I have 3, 4, 6, 6, and a 2. What I'm going to do is take a action to re-roll a die. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-roll the d8 and the d2, or the d20. And what I want to try to get, in this case I'm going for a straight, which is called a sequential attack. So now I'm trying to get a 5 on the d8, and the d20 I'm rolling to maybe get a 20. So I got a 1 and a 1. So we've already triggered the ability of the Die Rake, which says if I roll a 1 on the d20, roll all my other dice, re-roll all other dice, not even the d20, and I don't get my actions back. So what I was going for is now completely gone. So I re-roll all my other dice. All right. And now I still have 2 more actions, including the ability to re-roll the d20 if I wanted to. So what am I going to do? Decisions. I am going to try changing this to a 3 and re-rolling these 3 dice, keeping my 2 6s. All right, so we have a 4, 5, 6, 6. So I have one action left, and one of the options on here is to have a perfect strike, which is 4 matching numbers, which can include the d20. So I'm going to use my final action, my fourth action, to rotate this d8 to a 6, and now I have 4 6s. So if I have 4 matching numbers, I've performed a perfect strike, which is worth 40 points. So I'm going to fill that in the box there. And that's my first turn. And so what I'll be doing is doing this exact decision-making process a total of 33 times, which sounds like a lot, but once you really get rolling, pun intended, it doesn't take that long. Usually you can get a game in about 20 minutes. So starting my second turn, I'm going to set my action die to a 1. My first action is to roll these dice. And now I rolled a 1, so the die rake makes me re-roll all other dice. All right. And so now, as my second action, I'm going to choose to keep my 8 and re-roll these 4 dice. I'm going to try going for a maximum strike on some dice here. So that's my second roll. I'm going to do a third roll and re-roll all these dice, see what I can do. Not bad. For my fourth action, I'm going to adjust my d10 up by 1. So now it goes to a 9. And then I'm going to take the d8 and the d10, which is one of the options up top, the Rogue Fighter combo. So d8 and d10, I add those 2 dice together, 17, and I put that in the Rogue Fighter box. All right. Set my die. Oh, and because I didn't use the d20, that 3 gets marked in the special d20 section. I would circle or cross out that number 3. And so those are worth a point each at the end of the game. But if you get them all circled, you get an extra 25 points. And for every 20 that you roll, you get 5 bonus points, because 20s are like critical hits in the world of RPG games. All right, turn number 3. Roll a dice and decide what to do. Now in this case, I've got a decent shot at a defend roll, which is a low number. So I'm going to keep this 1, keep this 1, keep this 3. So I've got 4, 7, 8, 9. Actually, I already have enough to defend. So I'm going to actually keep as is, and I will fill in the defend spot. So I'm not even going to take my other actions. I'm just going to keep it. So I'm going to fill in defend. I get 20 points regardless of the dice totals, and I'm going to circle the 14 on my special D20 chart. All right, so there we go. Next turn, set the die to 1. Roll those dice. And we have 8, 8, 6, 6, 3. We could, you know what? So I'm going to really cheat the dice here. As my first action, I'm going to rotate this to a 7. As my second action, which brings me to 3, I'm going to rotate this to a 4. And as my fourth and final action, I'm going to rotate this to a 5. So what I've done there is created a straight 5, 6, 7, 8 without having to re-roll at all. And for a straight, which is a sequential attack, that means I get to add those 4 numbers together. So 8 plus 7 is 12, 12 plus 6, 18, 18 plus 5 is 23. I'll put that in my sequential attack. And I get to keep the 6 as my D20 special roll, which is great, because I want to get as many different numbers as I can for individual points and potential bonus points. Next turn, we have a 15 on the D20, and then 1, 1, 2, 8. So you know what? I'm going to go for a low roll again. Might as well. The odds are in my favor here. And I could decide later to do something with that. So my second action is to re-roll these 2 dice. So 15 and 6. I'm going to try it again. Third action is to re-roll these 2 dice. Now, if I had 2 more actions, I could turn both of those into 1s and get a 4 perfect strike, but that's not the case. So I'm going to use my fourth and final action. I'm going to keep all these dice and just roll my d20 because I already had a 6. All right, so I have my 4 dice that are less than 20, so those are less than 10, so they're worth 20 points as a defend. And the 14, because it's already circled, it doesn't do me any good this round, so it was kind of a dud roll for the 20. Next turn. going to keep this max 8 and try rolling all the rest of my dice. I'll keep the 18. I don't know if I'll roll that again. And I'm going to roll the rest of the dice, hoping for another maxed a pairing for that 8. So that's not bad. And then my fourth and final action, I'm going to roll this d12. If I get a 12, that would be wonderful. No 12 there, so I did not get a mass crit. So instead I'm going to take the 8 and the 10, add them together, and that's going to be another rogue fighter combination. And we'll start back up. Action number 1. I'm sure by this point some people may speed to the end of the video just to see how the end goes, but for those of you watching every roll, let's keep going. So first action, roll the dice. I'm going to reserve that 12. I like that number. As much as I'd like to keep... Oh, I never circled my 18. Oops. I'm going to keep that 17 actually. Second action, I'm going to roll these 3 dice and see what we can get. I don't like any of those. Third action, I'm going to roll again. And I don't like those, so fourth action, I'm going to hope for a high D10 on this roll. Come on, D10. Not bad, not bad. So that 9 and that 12, the D10 and the D12 combined together, that is the fighter and the wizard going hand in hand, getting me 21 points on the top. And my D20 has a 17, so I'll circle that. And we'll start up next round. Keep on moving. Roll them dice. We've got 7. We've got 7. 2, 3, and 5. The 5, if I want to keep my 20 and prevent getting rolls from the die rake, I could keep that. I couldn't get 7s with these 2 dice because it's a D6. So what am I going to do? I'm going to... I'm just going to roll these 2 dice again. So we've got 3 7s now, and I have 2 actions left. I'm not allowed to rotate the D20, but as my third action, with the hopes of getting a 7, I'm going to roll these 2 dice. That didn't work. And final action. We'll do it one more time. Lucky roll. Hey, we got a 20 at least. So that's the end of my roll. The 20, what that does is it gives me a 20 tick here. You're allowed to get as many 20s as you can in the course of a game. So if you're a really good roller, who knows what could happen. And then what I'm going to do is take, I'm going to take a combined attack for this one and just add my other 4 dice. So 7, 14, 21, 23 points for a combined attack. Just everybody doing their thing, hoping for the best. Sometimes that's what happens in combat. We'll move on to the next round. All right, 16 I haven't rolled yet, so maybe I will keep that. We've got some pretty low numbers here, though, and I already have used 2 of my low rolls. So what I'm going to do is, second action, just re-roll all of these, hope for some higher numbers, because I haven't got any mass crits yet, and those are worth mega points. Sorry for the phone dinging in the background. We'll just shut that off so it stops. I'm going to keep that 6. I'm going to keep this 6. I don't know if that was a 6, so I think I bumped that with my finger. I'm just going to roll these 2. All right, I've only got 1 action left. I've got 5, 6, 6, and 6. So close to a straight, but not quite. So I'm just going to roll this number, and maybe I can get an 8. Nope. All right. So this time I will try taking the 16, which I get for the D20, and then I have to pick what else. This time I'm going to use the taunt, so I'm just going to scratch off one of the bottom boxes. It's a scratch in games like Yahtzee, and continue on. So we're just mocking the character, but not actually damaging that die rake. We're teasing him a little before we go to the next attack. All right, a 19. I haven't rolled that yet. I'm going to keep that, even though I'm tempted to roll some more 20s. I like the opportunity to get as many diverse rolls as I can. There's no way I can get 4 9s, but 9 and 9 is not bad. So I'm going to bump this up to a 12 using all 3 of my actions. And now I have another 21 for the fighter wizard combo. In getting high numbers on the top, if you exceed a certain minimum, you get bonus points. So that's why getting high numbers on hero pairs is beneficial. And I'm going to circle that 19 and move on to my next turn, setting my action die to 1. Here we go again. Oh, doesn't count if it's not in the bin. We have a 6. I haven't rolled a 10 yet, so we're going to keep that 10. I'm just going to roll these 2 dice and see what happens. Hero pair D6 and D8. So you know what? I'll use another action here. Turn this to a 8. And I'm going to take these 2 numbers for 14. Keep it a simple strike. Just the cleric and the rogue working together. And continue on. Circle that 10 that I had. And start the next round. 11 I don't have yet, so I'm going to keep that. I've got 3 5s already, so second and third action, rotate this down to a 5. Really just use some dice mitigation here, get 4 5s. That is a perfect strike, worth 40 points. I think that's worthwhile. Next round. Oh, and circle that 11. I always forget to circle my 20s. All right, we've got a max hit of 12 with that wizard die there. Nice. We have a 9 rolled, which is good for the d20. So what else do we have? I'm going to keep that 9 and maybe bump it up 1, but first I'm going to roll the dice and see what these end up in. So second action, re-roll 2 dice. Third action, re-roll these dice again. Okay. And as my fourth action, I haven't done a d8, d12 combo yet, so I'm going to use this to bump my 7 to an 8 and take a maximum roll. For the rogue and the wizard working together, they score 20 points. So now I've each of my character pairs is fought at least once, but you can do that 3 times per game. Well, you have to do it 3 times per game unless you scratch them out, which would be kind of odd because you always have dice numbers to put in there. All right, roll some dice. Well, we've got a nice 6 there. I forgot to mark my d20. I think that was a 9. So what I'm going to do going forward is mark my 20s first, so that doesn't happen again. So what do we have? 2, 3, 6, 7. I don't really like the results there. I've already got a 10 circled, so let's just re-roll the rest of these as my second action. 10's not a bad number. 5 I don't have yet. And I've got a 7 and a 6, so let's third action re-roll these 2. And fourth action, I'm going to change this 9 to a 10. So a d10 and a d20. I've got 20 points there. I can use that. Sorry, d10 and a d12. My last wizard in fighter combo. So if I add those 3 together, I've got 20, 40, 62 points, which is greater than 60. So I'm going to write 62. And then in my bonus section, I get plus 20 points for that. So you really want to make sure you maximize that because that bonus 20 points is great to have. Fighter and wizard, critical part of any monster bashing combination. And I had a 5 there that I hadn't. I already broke my own rule. All right, next roll. We have an 8, which I haven't rolled yet, so I'm going to keep it because I'm playing for keeps there. We have a 2, 3, 5, 7, and I haven't finished sequential attacks, so I'm just going to, no, we're going to roll them all. Try for something bigger, badder, better. Ooh, D8. I've got 2 actions left, so 3, 4. Bump this up to 12. Take that 20 points for the rogue and wizard combination. And continue my journey. Now I'll take that 8 on my d20, so I'm really doing well with my d20 right now. Continue rolling. We have a 13, which I have not rolled yet, so I'm going to stick with this strategy and keep that. And what do we want to do here? D6, D8, D12, 7, 8. That could be a 6 and that could be 9. So I'm going to, second action, just roll these 2 and try to go for a 6, 7, 8, 9 straight. That didn't work out so well. Turn it to a 3, third action. I've got a 6, but only the 8 can actually get to an 8, so that doesn't do me much good. And we're just going to go for lucky roll here, see what happens. So we did get the 5, but we never got the 6 that we needed. So I'm going to take the the D6 as a 4 and the D8 as a 5. I'm just going to take that measly 9 points up top. I know it's not very useful. And then I'm going to take the 13 here. Continuing on. Ooh, I've got an 11, which I've already rolled, so I'm definitely going to re-roll that. But I want to keep the 12. I'm going to keep the 9. And using my action die, second action, we'll roll these two. I haven't got a 2 yet, so I'm going to keep that. And as my third action, I'm going to re-roll these two. And as my fourth action, now I've already got the fighter wizard, I can't get any more of those. So as my fourth action, I'm going to re-roll these two and hope I get something to pair with that. So D6 and D12, well, the cleric and the wizard never work together. They just don't pair up very well. So there's no D6, D12 combination. So in this case, I'm going to do a combined attack. So 12 and 9 is 21, 22, 28 points for the combined attack, where I just add up all the dice. And circle my 2. So all I have left is 1, 4, 7, 12, 15, and then I will have rolled all my dice. But we're getting there with the special D20 chart. All right. 3 I've already rolled, so I'm going to be re-rolling that again. I am going to be doing re-rolls here, so change that to 2. We're going to re-roll that, re-roll that. We're going to try for some max numbers here. So re-roll. I like that 8. I'm going to do a third action, re-roll these two. 6 and a 5. I already have my 6. The 5 isn't helping me, so final roll. I am going to roll these two. So my D20 got a 2, which I can't use for anything. I'm going to do the D6 and D8. They're both maxed, so 14 points there, which means I'm finished my cleric rogue combos. 14 and 14, 28, plus 9 is 37 points. 37 is higher than the minimum of 35 needed, so I will get an extra 5 points. So I have 37 plus 5 is 42 points up there. So even though I took a lower roll earlier, I've made up for it with 2 maximum rolls. All right, keep on going. 1, 2, 2, 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I need the 4, so I'm just going to keep that whole roll, take it as a defend, which is worth 20 points, and that's full now, and circle the 4. That was a really easy turn. Start a new turn. So some turns you only roll once because it just works for you. Notice I haven't got a max crit yet. If you've ever played Yahtzee, getting Yahtzee is hard. Getting max crit is even harder, except that there's more, that you have actual dice mitigation in this game. Okay, I can't go for low rolls anymore, so no matter what, low rolls don't really matter unless I'm going for a perfect strike with 4 of a kind. 8 I already have, so I'm going to re-roll this, re-roll these, keep that. Actually, I'm just going to go for a big re-roll here. Okay, we have a 19, I already have that. 6, 8, nothing strikes me as appealing here. D6 and, or sorry, D8 and D10. Yeah, I'm going to re-roll those. So re-roll them all. Hopefully I don't get a 1 against this die rake. So there's my D10 that I was looking for. I don't need that 6, so as my final action, I'm going to re-roll these and hope I get a better D20 result. My D20 result is a 3 that I already have, so I'm going to take the hero pair, D10 and D8 rogue fighter for 18. So I've now filled up the rogue fighter combination. 18 and 18 is 36, 46, 53 points. I might have that one set too low, 10, 20, 30. Yeah, I've got that set too low. I'll have to fix that. But in this particular score, I'm going to get plus 10 points, so 53 plus 10 is 63. This is one of my older sheets I forgot to update before I played this game. But that's okay. We're here just to learn how to play. Or play a full session. All right. Roll this. 10 I already have on my D20 that I'm caring about. And the only thing left up top is a D8 and a D12. But maybe I'll save that for later, and I'm going to try going for maybe 4 of a kind. So I'm going to keep those two, re-roll these 3 as my second action. Oh, 4, 4. I'm more likely to get 4s on the lower dice than the higher dice, so I'm going to use my third action to reroll these 3 instead. We've got 4 4s. That's fantastic. You don't get a bonus for getting a 5th 4, but as my 4th and final action, I do want to reroll my d20 in hopes that I get a 7, 12, or 15, or 20. And it's a 1. Unfortunately, the die rake strikes me again. I thought I had a perfect strike, but I got greedy, and now I have to re-roll these, and I have no actions left. So the die rake really got me that time. And so what am I going to do? The dice rolls aren't high. You know, I haven't taken a overwhelm yet. I have to remember that. But in this case, I'm going to take a... just going to add up the numbers. So 8 plus 7 is 15, 20. I'm going to take a combined attack for 20. And I'm going to circle the 1. I do get to keep the 1 at least, so it served a purpose. Alright, but the die rake really stole my perfect strike there. Came out of the blue. We have a 2, don't need that. 6, 6, 4, 7. So if I do a second action and turn this into a 6, third action turn this into a 5, and fourth action turn that into a 6. Use all my actions, make a perfect strike. Perfect strike is worth 40 points. I don't have any left. And my 20 is useless because I already had a 2. So next round. All I really have left is Overwhelm, Mass Crit, and the Rogue Wizard. So let's see how we finish this off. 14 I've already rolled. I've already got my perfect strikes. So really don't have much to work with here. As my second roll, I'm going to re-roll all of these and just keep my 8. Alright, 19 I already have. 5, 2, 8, 8. Not so good here. So third action, re-roll, re-roll. We're going to hope to get a 6 and a 7, maybe. And the d20 could be used if it was available. So the d20 got a 15. I want that number as part of my chart, so I'm going to actually reserve that. And I'm going to go for the... Yeah, we'll just desperately attempt as a last roll to get a 5 and or 6 and a 7. Didn't get it, got one of the 2. And so I'm just going to take the 15 and a taunt. And to continue on, we've taunted the die rake again. Getting close to the end here. Rolled a 17 for the d20, don't need that, but I do need some max hit rolls. So I'm just going to take that 12 and really go for the gusto, try to get some max die rolls here. We did well, we got a 10. We got a 6. So third roll, if I can even get a 7 or an 8 on this d8, we'll be laughing. So we got a 10 and a 3. And final action, try one more time. All we need is an 8 for a max hit. Nope, 15 is useless. That's useless. So, but what I do have is 20, 30 points. And if I add all those up, that is an overwhelm. So if my total is greater than 27, I get 30 points. It's just coincidental that my total is 30. But even if the total was 35, for example, I would still only get 30 points for that. Next, go again. We're going for some max rolls here. We'll keep that 9. I do need a 12, so you know what? We'll just keep going with these 3 dice, hope for some higher numbers. Yeah, not the greatest. I think I can get a higher number on that. I'll keep that. Roll these 2. I'm just going to go for another overwhelm here. Ooh, that was a bad one. Actually turned out worse. And that turned out worse too. Alright, so 9 plus 10 is 19. I don't have enough for an overwhelm. I could do the d8 and d12, but the d12 is only at a 2, so I'm just going to use up my last taunt and take that 12. And continue on. All I need left for the d20 is a 7 to have rolled every number. So, lucky number 7. Speaking of 7s, we have a few, but not on the die. I wanted them on. What do we want now? We could go for a high roll. I'm going to keep that and re-roll the rest of these. Nope. Keep that. Re-roll the rest. Nope. And one more re-roll. See if we can get a couple high numbers. Gets tougher near the end. So I don't have enough for an overwhelm. I could take the D8 and the D12 this time. Sure, why not? 8 and 5 is 13. So we fill that in, and then we count up the top. So we have 20, 40, 53 is greater than 50, so 53 plus 15 will bring me to 68. And like I said, this score chart was revised a bit after I printed this, so might not look exact on the final copy, because I'm trying to keep it as difficult but achievable as possible. Anyway, 8 plus 3 is 11, 12, 13. So 13 we are going to add a 3 and a 1. So 13, 8 plus 6 is 14, 20, 24, 25. So 253 points on the top. But the game's not over yet. I do still have some spots left. So we're going to keep it going until every box is filled or crossed out because it could not be achieved. And when we're going for max die rolls, that is not a good way to start. So second action, just re-roll them all. We got a 1, so the die rake is going to make me roll the rest of these over again, which is actually kind of in my favor this time. All right, third action, I'm going to keep that 6 and re-roll all of these. I'll keep that 8. All I have left is 2 overwhelms. Oh, I do still have sequential attacks still. I forgot about those. But I only have 1 action left. So 9 plus 8 is 17 plus 12 is 29. So I already have enough to overwhelm. I'm just going to take that roll. And I'm not even going to re-roll the d20 because I don't want to roll a 1. Next round. All right. 7, 8. So I could get a 6 and a 9 here. So we're going to go... Actually, I could even save that 10 because all I would need is a 9 on this one. So we're going to try that out. I'm just going to use second action to roll this, third action to roll this, and oh, still 1 short. So now what do I do, hey? Well, there's enough for an overwhelm there, so let's use the fourth and final action to try to roll a 7 here. Be risky. Nope. Okay. So we have 10, 21, 29, so that's enough for an overwhelm. So now the only options we have left are sequential attack and mass crits. So that's what we're going for, sequential attack or mass crit. Roll the dice. We've got 2, 3, 5, so technically all we need here is a 4. So let's keep that. Roll these. I cannot modify the d20, so we're going to roll again. 1, 2, 3. I do have an action left, so I'll rotate this down to a 4. And that means that's useless. So I do have a sequential attack. Unfortunately, I have to add those numbers together. So 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's only worth 10 points, but 10 is better than 0 in the end game. Next round. Struggling for these mass rolls. Let's try it again. I'm going to keep that 7. Maybe I'm going to up it by 1 if it works out. Not bad, but not good enough. 5, 7, 9. I should have rolled the 20 and forgot. So as my third action, I'm going to re-roll these 2. 7, 16 is my fourth action. We'll do it again. No good. That's just a scratch. I'm going to scratch out a max roll. Oh, I put in the wrong numbers here before. Those should be those boxes. Anyway, next round. We got a 20. I'll take that. Max and a max and a max. Wow, that's a really good roll. So as my second roll, all I'm trying to get is an 8 for a max roll here. Perfect. Third action, bump this up to an 8. And you did get to see a max hit. So, and that's a natural. It didn't require the d20. So I get to take my 50 points for that. First one of those. And I get to add another tick on my 20. So I now have 2 ticks on my 20s. It was a really good round. Maybe we can have a repeat. And maybe not. 2, 4, 4, 5. This works out really, really well for a sequential attack, which I still want, because I can just change this to a 3 as my second action. As my third action, I'm going to keep trying to get a 7 on this. And as my fourth action, try one more time. So thankfully didn't roll a 1, so I got to keep my sequential. That's 9 plus 5 is 14 points there. And so this will be my final roll, final turn. And the only thing I can get is a mass crit or a scratch. All right, hey, we got the 7 on the 20. We'll take that. And all we're doing now is just trying to roll max dice. So I can't really afford to save actions to round up. So just going to go for some natural rolls and see if we get lucky. Not quite. And final hope. Rolling 3 maximums, almost impossible. But I did get the 7, so I will take that. And that will be the scratch there, and that's the end of the game. So now we go to final scoring. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up all of these, and then I'll explain the D20 chart, just so we get a final score here. So mind me for a moment as I get through this. So that's 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 12. I might even fast forward this part. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 12, 3, 6, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, plus 5, 16. And I add those together. So 166 plus 128 plus 129. 6 and 8 is 14. 14 plus 9 is 23. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 423 points there. All right. And so now as a special D20 chart, I get 20 points because I have every number. So we're going to put 20 there. Then I get plus 25 points for filling out the entire chart. And then I get plus 5 points per 20 that I got. And I got 2 20s, so plus 10 points. So that's going to give me a total of 20, 30, 40, 55 points there. Then I'm going to add, and don't worry, the score sheet will be tweaked to have all of these grouped together, but 423 plus 253 plus 55. So I'm going to add this plus this together to get a final score of 11, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4, 5, 6, 7, 731 points is my final score. Unfortunately, this die rake is a bit tough. The rating may not be appropriately marked there, but I'm supposed to get 750 to beat the die rake, and I didn't quite achieve it. So it was a close game. I think I had some really good numbers there, but the die rake bested me this time around. And again, keep in mind that the numbers may change slightly in the last few bits of playtesting, but this is a full playthrough so you can get an idea of how roll or die works, how many decisions there are to make between rerolls and dice mitigations and playing with your D20. You can have lots of fun with that. Thanks for watching, and hopefully it interests you enough to check out the Kickstarter, or maybe you'll watch this on the Kickstarter page and it'll help make a decision whether this is a print and play roll and write game for you. Take care.